Alone at the wedding, she discovered an incredible twist. The millionaire whispered, "Pretend you're someone else, and the world will open up." Emily stood on the edge of the lush estate, watching as the glittering crowd swirled around her like a whirlpool of wealth and laughter. Clamps of laughter rang out, mingling with the soft clinking of champagne flutes. The world around her felt surreal. Shimmering gowns floated like clouds of cotton candy while the melodic notes of a small orchestra floated through the air. But here she was, in her modest dress understated and simple, a stark contrast to the luxurious display. The scent of burnt toast still clung to her clothes as if it were a reminder of her reality. Back home, she had hurriedly prepared breakfast for her younger siblings, desperately trying to keep life together for her hard-working mother. Each day felt like a struggle, scraping by from tips at the diner while trying to put a smile on her family's face. As she maneuvered through the clusters of guests, refilling glasses, and dodging prying eyes, a deep loneliness sank into her chest. A thick fog of isolation hung over her while everyone else seemed so effortlessly connected. It was suffocating. Her heart pounded in her ears as she reached the table where Alex sat, a strikingly handsome man with an air of confidence that made her stomach flip. "Pretend you're someone else, and the world will open up," she overheard him say, his voice low and smooth. At that moment, something sparked within her. Emily's mind raced. What if she did? What if she stepped out of her worn shoes and became someone new, just for a while? Taking a deep breath, she approached him with poise she didn't quite feel. With every word exchanged, the chill of her reality began to thaw. They talked about dreams and aspirations, laughter breaking the weight of expectations that tied them both down. Alex shared how his fortune felt like a gilded cage, while Emily laughed and tried to keep her life at home locked away. The way he looked into her eyes ignited a warm glow in her heart. It was a connection that felt electric, thrilling, yet the thrill soon morphed into guilt. As they shared their secrets and dreams, her heart ached for her family back home, the struggles that shaped who they were. Just then, her phone buzzed. A text from her brother. "Can you send money? We're really struggling this month." Her smile faded. A cruel reminder of her reality crashed hard against the glamour surrounding her. No one can know, she thought, her heart heavy. The laughter around her became almost unbearable. And then Alex offered help, financial assistance that sounded like a lifeline. A part of her wanted to scream yes, to rid her family of their troubles. The other part rebelled, knowing that this could lead her to betray what she valued most. Just then, her brother found her, a whirlwind of hurt and frustration. "Emily, you're lost in a fairy tale, ignoring your family. We need you." His voice cracked, revealing the raw emotion she had hidden. Caught between two worlds, one of glitzy glamour and the other filled with love but hardship, Emily felt the tremors of an internal quake. Could she truly embrace a life of abundance while her family continued to struggle? As the party swirled around her, tensions flared and revelations unfolded. Just when everything seemed to collide, a startling truth about Alex surfaced. His own experiences reflected a harsh life that made her own struggles feel like a mirror. The weight of the moment rung in her ears, leaving Emily standing at the edge of a cliff. Love versus loyalty, dreams versus reality. The evening blurred around her, uncertainty hanging thick in the air. A shared glance with Alex sparked an unanswered question. Could she bridge this divide without losing herself? With emotions cracking like glass against stone, the night continued, igniting a burning question in her heart. Would she dare to take a leap into love, or stay anchored to her family's fight? Emily's heart raced as the tension escalated, her brother's words echoing in her mind. Lost in a fairy tale, pierced like an arrow, pulling her deeper into memory. She could almost hear the laughter of her siblings, see their eager smiles waiting for her at home. Torn between two worlds, she felt the weight of every expectation pressing down on her. Alex watched her, concern etched across his handsome features. "Emily, are you okay?" His voice was a soothing balm, yet it sent another wave of guilt crashing over her. How much longer could she pretend? She had barely scratched the surface of who she was while in his company. Taking a deep breath, she forced a smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes. I can't stay long. I really need to check on my family." The glittering soiree felt more suffocating than inviting now. Your family? Alex asked, his brow furrowing. You really care about them? It wasn't a question, more of an acknowledgement, one that hung in the air between them. Emily nodded, feeling a lump form in her throat. She took a moment, glancing around the room. The beautiful people, the laughter, the opulence, it all felt hollow. Yet here in front of her was a man who saw her, truly saw her, away from the roles they played. They depend on me. I have to keep things together. As if sensing the shift, Alex leaned closer, lowering his voice. You don't have to do it all alone, Emily. We could help each other. It's not that simple, she replied, brushing her hair back in frustration. Your world and mine are not as different as we think, Alex interrupted gently. It's easy to get lost in the glitz, but the truth is, we're both yearning for something real. The money, the status, they don't fill that void. A beat of silence lingered as he spoke. Emily was torn. She could feel the pull of hope stirring inside, but it came wrapped in fear. What if I let go? What if I step out of my life and just, what? Leave them behind? Leaving doesn't mean forgetting. It could mean facing the truth, daring to reach for something more. His words painted a picture in her mind, one of potential liberation paired with impending loss. But as beautiful as it seemed, a surge of indignation arose within her. How could she even think of stepping away when her siblings had become her reason for every sacrifice? Just then, the atmosphere shifted. The music crescendoed, and an announcement was made: Alex's family reconnecting with distant relatives, another glamorous committee coming together. The crowd surged forward. In that moment, Emily felt like she was being pushed away from Alex, the intimacy evaporating like mist. No. The thought hit her like a rogue wave. She didn't want to lose him just when he had opened a door she never knew existed. Please, can you stay? He turned, his expression a mixture of surprise and something softer. Why? Because I want to know more. I want to know you, who you are behind the money, behind the parties. As the crowd buzzed with excitement around them, a small flicker of courage ignited in her heart. You deserve to be more than your past, Emily. Let us find that together. Her pulse raced as she searched his eyes, seeking assurance that this connection was as real as it felt. And yet behind it all lurked her unyielding duty to family, an anchor too heavy to let go. But just as the moment solidified, her phone buzzed again, another message from her brother. We really need you here, Em. Reality crashed down on her. Would she choose this moment, this feeling, this man? Or would she return to the frantic role in her family's survival? Emily closed her eyes, breathing deep, her gut churning with indecision. Torn between love and loyalty, she could feel her world warp and bend. Emily. Alex's voice sliced through her thoughts, concern lacing his tone. Can we talk more? Away from all this? Her voice trembled just enough for him to catch the uncertainty that danced in her eyes. Of course. She took his hand, feeling the warmth of his grip. But as she prepared to step away, that haunting question returned. Could she really be brave enough to rewrite her story, intertwining two worlds that threatened to break apart with every step? And as they walked towards the glowing terrace, Emily felt the weight of a million choices ahead, each step a leap into the unknown. Would breaking free lead to a new beginning or deeper entanglements? The cool night air wrapped around them like a soft cloak as they stepped onto the terrace, a contrast to the heartbeat of the party inside. Emily leaned against the rail, her pulse slowing just enough to let her think. The gentle thrum of the celebration faded, leaving only the whisper of the wind and the rhythm of her own thoughts. What do you want to know? Alex asked, his voice low, drawing her back into the moment. He stood close, his presence both comforting and intimidating. She wanted to ask about his childhood, the one she imagined filled with golden halls and inherited expectations. But instead, the words tangled in her throat, caught between longing and fear. What's it like? She finally asked, nodding toward the event inside. Living in this world? Like wearing a beautiful mask, he replied candidly, pushing a hand through his hair, a gesture that always made her heart flutter. Everyone expects you to play a part. Success, wealth, they come with their own set of chains. Chains. She understood that too well. It was why she had spent countless sleepless nights juggling bills and school schedules, making sure her siblings wouldn't have to bear the strain alone. So, what do you do? She questioned, her curiosity outweighing her apprehension. Do you just put on the mask? Or do you fight it? He sighed, a deep, weary sound. Sometimes I fight, but how can you wrestle with something that looks so appealing? You get caught up in the perception. His eyes searched hers, and for a moment, the terrain dimmed, leaving just them two, adrift in a sea of possibility. What if we took off our masks? She whispered, a boldness blooming inside her, fanned by his openness. What would that look like? He smiled, hesitant but intrigued. Liberating, but terrifying. He stepped closer, his fingers brushing her arm. For me, it could mean revealing truths I've kept hidden. For you, it might mean stepping away from everything you've ever known. Emily's heart raced anew. The thought of stripping away her carefully built life felt exhilarating but treacherous. Just then, her phone buzzed loudly, shattering the fragile connection forming between them. Another message, this time a frantic plea from her brother, "We're falling apart without you, Em. Please come home now." See? She said, forcing a laugh that seemed hollow even to her. They need me. I can't just. Can't just what? He interrupted, his gaze sharp yet compassionate. Can't just figure out what you want. Is that why you're here tonight, Emily? Because you finally want to know what lies beyond your family's expectations? She stared at him, torn again. Could she do that? Push against the tide of responsibility? But could she really pursue something resembling happiness, a life where she made choices solely for herself? Emily. Alex's voice poured over her like warm honey. You said you want to know me. Let me show you how we can break free together. His words ignited something inside her, a little spark of courage that urged her to lean into the unknown. She felt alive in that moment, light and heavy all at once. I don't want to lose you, not before I even found you. Then let us find each other, he said, his intensity echoing in the chilled air. He stepped closer still, their breath mingling in the space between them. But as the music roared back to life from inside the house, the reality of her family's needs pulled her back painfully to earth. If I leave now, Emily's voice faltered, uncertainty cascading over her like a cold shower. What if I disappear and they really can't hold it together? Or what if you step away and find out who you really are? His reply was softer now, carrying that same weight of expectation. You have every right to know what life could be like if you chose to live for yourself. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, a stark reminder of the world waiting for her. Her brother's name glared in bright, urgent text. She felt trapped between two worlds, pulling her in opposite directions, with something pivotal about to snap. Emily. What will you choose? His question hung in the air, heavy and palpable. She needed to decide: stay and help the ones she loved, or take a chance on herself. The decision felt monumental, laden with the potential for joy or regret. As she stood there, caught in the crosshairs of destiny, Emily could almost hear her heart whispering an answer, but doubt clung to her like an unwanted guest. What if the answer was not just a choice between two paths? What if it was something entirely unexpected? And in that moment of uncertainty, she realized, this dance with Alex was only the beginning, but where would it lead? Emily's phone buzzed insistently against her palm, breaking her from the spell of possibility. She glanced down, heart sinking as she read her brother's message again. We're falling apart without you, Em. Please come home now. The pressure from home, the unending cycle of responsibility, it pressed down on her like a brick. What if she hesitated, searching his eyes for something solid to cling to? What if I abandon them? What if I'm not there when they need me most? Alex stepped back slightly, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. He wasn't trying to push her away, rather, he seemed to be inviting her to embrace something new, something she had put on hold for far too long. Emily, I get that your family is important, and it's noble of you to care. But can you really help them if you're always sacrificing your own happiness? She felt a warmth radiate from the depths of his words, but the fear of the unknown loomed larger. And what about you? She asked softly. What do you want from this? The question hung in the space between them. Alex seemed to take a moment, his gaze drifting to the stars that sprinkled the night sky. I want to know if there's more than this surface life I lead, he admitted, his voice tinged with vulnerability. More than the expectations, the mask. I want to be real with someone. Are you willing to be that person? Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing the weight of his question. It felt almost too heavy to hold. Emily. The voice called out from inside the house, pulling her attention back. A familiar face, one of her brother's friends, shouted over the music. Are you coming back in? You can't hide out here forever. She turned back to Alex, the choice tearing at her insides. The laughter and joy from the party felt so distant, the elegant gowns and tuxedos contrasting sharply with the chaos she carried within. I don't want to lose this moment, she whispered. But you're losing yourself, Alex replied, his tone raw with empathy. What if, just for tonight, you let go of that weight? Dance with me, just for a little while. Show me what this world could look like without the chains. His words ignited a flicker of hope, and Emily's breath quickened. Could she really just let go? The thought was both terrifying and freeing. Glancing back toward her phone, toward the waiting world, she felt a pulse of rebellion stir within her. With a quick decision, she slipped her phone back into her pocket and took a step closer to him. Okay. Just for tonight. I want to know what it feels like to be free. An immense smile broke across Alex's face, illuminating the shadows of the night. He extended his hand to her, fingers unfurling like a promise. Then come with me. Hand in hand, they crossed the threshold back into the grand hall, the music swelling to greet them like an old friend. Suddenly, her anxiety morphed into exhilaration, each beat of the music beckoning her forward. Laughter filled the air, swirling around them like vibrant confetti. As they stepped onto the dance floor, she let herself be enveloped by the rhythm. The lights spun overhead, a whirlwind of color and energy, wrapping them in a cocoon of movement. For the first time, she felt the weight of her responsibilities lift, just for a moment a reminder that it was okay to seek happiness beyond duty, but as the song escalated, she caught sight of a familiar figure at the edge of the crowd. The world tilted sharply back into focus as she recognized one of her siblings, looking lost and worried. Panic flooded her heart. Could she really let go now? Emily. Alex's voice cut through her thoughts, concern framing his features. The choice was looming again. Did she dive deeper into this strange new world or run back to what she'd always known? Just then, the music faded, and another message popped up on her phone, urging her home. Caught in the moment, her pulse racing and heart in turmoil, Emily faced two worlds that seemed impossibly far apart. In that single heartbeat, she realized, the night was just beginning, but where would her heart lead her now? The vibrant laughter and spinning lights faded into the background as Emily stood frozen, caught between the magnetic pull of the dance floor and the pressing urgency of her family's need. She glanced over at Alex, whose eyes were filled with concern and an unspoken plea for her to stay. Emily. Her brother's friend called again, the worry in his voice slicing through the air. Her heart pounded. Each thud echoed her turmoil. One part of her felt like she was finally tasting freedom, the thrill of being young and reckless for a night. The other part, a deep-rooted sense of familial duty, yanked at her, invisible chains dragging her back toward the door. Just a minute, she whispered, more to herself than to Alex. A thought spiraled in her mind. Was staying here truly abandoning them? Or was it simply allowing herself the space to breathe? Alex stepped closer, his voice gentle. What is going on in your head? She searched his eyes, looking for the understanding she so desperately craved. I feel so torn, like I'm choosing between my family and something I don't even know if it can last. Doesn't it feel good, just for a moment, to dream? Alex's gaze was steady, illuminating a flicker of hope within her confusion. Sometimes, you have to swing back and forth before you find your balance. As he spoke, the music shifted again, pulling her into its cadence like a wave. She could feel the energy of the crowd wrapping around her, lifting her spirits. The laughter soared, and the strings of worry loosened ever so slightly, but her brother's worried face loomed in her mind, the weight pressing down again. Just when she thought she might lean into this distraction, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, pulling her back to the relentless reality. "Emily, please," came the muted sound from her screen. She bit her lip, grappling with the decision before her. "I should go back," she said, though a part of her resented the thought. "Just one dance?" Alex urged, taking a step forward. His honesty caught her off guard. "One dance wouldn't hurt, right?" She took a deep breath, feeling the moment teeter on the verge of joy and despair. "Okay. One dance." Alex's smile lit up as he swept her into the pulsating crowd. The moment his hands found her waist and pulled her gently closer, she felt alive. Each sway, each turn, each leap, like they were writing a story for only them to see. But then, with every beat, reality chipped at the edges of her pleasure, bringing her brother's voice back around. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, letting the music thrum in her bones, hoping it would drown out the calls from home. In that brief surrender to the moment, Emily found herself laughing, truly laughing, and the heaviness lifted. They spun around, the lights illuminating her features, a glow of youth and an unwillingness to face the world creeping in. In this moment, she was more than just the girl who had to look after everyone. "Emily. There you are." Another familiar voice, this time sharper than before, cut through the mirth. She opened her eyes to see her younger brother standing on the edge of the crowd, eyes wide with desperation. "Wait, please. You can't just leave us." The panic in his voice echoed louder than the music, wrenching her gut painfully. Reality crashed back around her, and she instinctively stepped back, breaking the connection with Alex. I have to go," she stammered, her heart breaking as she looked to Alex for understanding. But she couldn't lose herself completely. Emily rushed towards her brother, the noise of celebration fading behind her as she stepped into her responsibility once more. Yet, a part of her longed to look back, to dive back into the world she had just begun to taste. As she reached her brother, his anxiety washing over her in waves, she felt a poignant question form in her chest: could she ever truly find a way to balance the two worlds, responsibility and freedom? At that moment, she could only hope that the answer would come to her soon before it was too late for either choice. "Emily. I'm so glad I found you." Her brother's voice, panicked and shaky, pulled her back to reality. She knelt down to meet his wide, frightened eyes. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, her heart sinking. "They're fighting Mom and Dad." The tremor in his voice broke something inside her. The childhood she had spun in her mind, the joy of that fleeting dance, slipped through her fingers like sand. "Oh no," Emily whispered, the gravity of the situation grounding her. She stood, anxiety bubbling in her chest, needing to make things right. "Where are they?" "Outside. I think Dad's really upset this time." Emily didn't need to think twice. She turned and dashed towards the exit, her brother trailing behind her. The noise from the party faded quickly into the background, replaced by the sound of her heart pounding. Was everything always in chaos when they gathered? When they stepped outside, a gust of cool night air hit her, contrasting sharply with the warmth of the party, an unwelcome reminder of the mess wrapping itself around them. Her parents stood on opposite sides of the driveway, their voices rising to a crescendo she never wanted to hear. Every harsh word was like daggers, each cutting deeper than the last. Her father's face was flushed, frustration etched across his features like lines on a map, easy to see, impossible to navigate. "Why can't you just understand?" Her mother shouted, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, tears welling in her eyes but not spilling over. This is not how a family is supposed to be. Emily's breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just a disagreement, it felt like the unraveling of everything she held dear. Stop. Just stop. She called out, her voice desperate and shaky as she stepped between them. Her brother edged closer, his small hand clutching at her sleeve. We don't need to fight like this. Both of her parents turned to her, and for a moment, the chaos paused. But then her father's frustration spilled over again. It's not a fight, Emily. I'm trying to keep this family together. By pushing us away. Her mother retorted, her voice softer now but still heavy with tension. Emily crossed her arms over her chest, defense instinct kicking in. This isn't going to solve anything. We're all hurting right now. You don't even see how this affects us. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she fought them back. Was this what grew from the seeds of silence her parents had sown? The emotional scars ran deep, and she felt them pulling her apart, just like the tug-of-war in her own heart. I need us to be a family, she said, her voice shaky but firm. We can't keep doing this, it hurts too much. Through clenched jaws, her father slowly turned his gaze to her, the armor of anger beginning to crack. She could see the struggle within him wrestling with pride, frustration, and love. Maybe her mother's voice trailed off, delicate and fragile, as she stepped forward too. Maybe we need to talk about how we feel. Emily felt hope flicker, bringing warmth where there had been only chill. Could they really stop the fighting? She glanced at her brother, who looked relieved but unsure. Please, Emily urged. Let us talk this out. We owe it to each other. The silence that hung between them felt heavy but also strangely relieving. As the moments ticked by, something shifted, an unspoken agreement, a shared willingness to try. But just as she dared to believe they were turning a corner, her phone buzzed heavily in her pocket again, jolting her back. The screen lit up with a message from Alex. I'm worried. Where are you? Her heart sank, caught between two worlds again. Could she step back into the chaos of her family and give them everything she had, while still holding a place for Alex, for the freedom she craved? Leaving her family in turmoil while pursuing what felt good was not an option, even if it broke her, and in that moment, Emily realized she might have to face the truth of what she wanted most and what it meant for everyone around her, but she had to find a way to communicate, to connect, to heal. Would this be the time they would finally reach each other? Or was the distance between them too great to cross? Emily stood at the crossroads of two lives, her heart battling against the weight of expectations and the pull of her own desires. The cool night air wrapped around her, reminding her of the moment just a few breaths ago when hope flickered between her parents. But now, the weight of Alex's text pulled at her. Her brother's small voice broke through her thoughts, uncertainty swirling in his wide eyes. Are they gonna be okay? Emily turned to him and forced a smile, not fully convincing even herself. I think they might be if we can just talk, if we can be honest. I don't want them to fight again, he mumbled, shifting his weight from foot to foot. I know. But maybe we can help them understand. She clasped his shoulder gently, or perhaps it was him who offered her comfort in that moment. A tense silence loomed as Emily turned back to face her parents, their expressions softening like dawn creeping into the night. Please, she said again, her voice barely more than a whisper. Let us talk about this. All of it. No blame, just us. Her mother nodded hesitantly while her father took a deep breath, as if bracing himself against something unknown. Fine, let us talk about it, he said, his tone a mix of resignation and reluctant openness. Emily could feel her heart pounding. This was the moment where they could either rebuild or fall apart entirely. She sensed the crack in her father's anger, the flicker of her mother's fear. If we're going to do this, we need to be honest, really honest. Agreed, her mother said softly, tears glistening against the backdrop of the night. Emily's hands shook slightly as she summoned the courage to speak. Dad, you feel frustrated. But you never let us see the good parts of you. It's like you're scared to show us. And Mom, you carry so much alone. You don't have to. Before she could finish, her father interjected, his voice raw with pain. It's not that simple, Emily. I feel like I'm stuck, trying to make it all work, and when I ask for help his words tangled in his throat, the unspent vulnerability exploding through the cracks. Forcing it one to make it easier. Emily shot back, her emotions breaking free. We need to talk, not shout. We're in this together. We're your family. A shudder ran through her mother, and suddenly, her barriers started to crumble. I was trying to protect you both. I thought if I just kept quiet, it would keep you safe, but I see now that it didn't help. The tears she held back finally streamed freely down her cheeks. Emily's heart tugged at her as she moved toward her mother, wrapping her in a tight embrace. It's okay, Mom, she whispered. We can face this together. We can figure it out. As they stood there, she could feel her father's struggle, his entire presence tense and uncertain, but still there. The weight of unexpressed feelings floated thick in the air, but together, they were beginning to weave a new story, a fragile thread of connection. The wind shifted slightly, and for the first time that night, Emily could hear the soft rustle of leaves, calming and reassuring. Hope bubbled gently in her chest, but, just as the air seemed to lighten, her phone buzzed again, shattering their moment of fragile resolve. Alex's name flashed on the screen once more, demanding attention in a different way. Please answer or come home. Torn between staying in this moment of potential healing and returning to the longing echo of Alex's voice, Emily felt the urgency of both circles closing in around her. Could one family discussion truly solve everything? Did she have space for both her family's pain and Alex's worry, or would she have to choose? In that instant, Emily realized just how far they had to go. But deep down, she believed they could navigate this together if only she could find her own way forward. Would she step back into the fray for her family, or would she chase the life she wanted with Alex? The weight of her decision pressed tightly upon her heart, leaving her breathless with uncertainty. Emily's thoughts spiraled as the silence around her thickened. The tension between her parents hung in the air like a storm cloud, dark and heavy. She glanced at her brother, his small frame quaking slightly. The world outside faded, all she could focus on was the moment, what could be, what should be. Maybe we should take a break. Her father finally suggested, running a hand through his hair, the gesture full of frustration. Break? Emily echoed, panic creeping in. What do you mean? You said you wanted honesty, he replied, eyes narrowing. And this feels like we're only skimming the surface. Her mother, feeling the tension like a physical weight, stepped forward. We can't pretend everything's okay just because we're all standing here. What if it gets worse? Emily's heart raced. What if it doesn't? What if this is the beginning of something good? Silence followed, held breaths, uncertain faces. Each second felt like an eternity, her family on the brink of a breakthrough or a collapse. Her phone buzzed again, an intrusive presence that demanded attention. Please, the desperate message blinked beneath Alex's name. Emily hesitated, her fingers poised above the screen. If she answered, would it mean leaving her family behind? Would they feel abandoned? Yet, as another moment of silence stretched, she felt a surge of frustration. When had staying together turned into a battle? Maybe we could just take a moment, Emily said, lowering her phone. Just breathe. Her parents exchanged glances, both wearing a mask of concern. Okay, her father conceded, though he looked to his wife for support. Emily's mother took a shaky breath. We can take a moment. But we have to come back to this. It's too important. Right, Emily agreed, her pulse still racing. There was a hope, small and flickering, deep inside her chest, a chance to salvage what felt like it was slipping away. But as the silence engulfed them, she began to feel the heaviness again, a sense of longing not just for her family's connection but for Alex too. What did he want? It had been so easy to overlook that, so easy to think family came first. She glanced at her phone once more, a warmth enveloping her as she thought of Alex's face, the easy smile, the way he always seemed to know how to make her laugh, how he believed in her without even trying. "Can I just have a minute?" she asked, emotion clawing at her throat. "Just to see what Alex needs." Her father hesitated but then nodded, the weariness evident in his voice. "Okay. Just come back. Please." Emily stepped away, retreating a few paces, her breath hitching in her throat. She opened the text thread and began to type, a mixture of excitement and fear flooding her. "Alex, I'm here. What's wrong?" Just as she hit send, a voice pulled her back. "Emily, wait." It was her mother, and Emily turned, caught between the two worlds she loved fiercely. "What's going on with Alex?" her mother asked, the worry evident on her face. "We can tackle this together. Mom, I need to know if he's okay, if he really needs me right now. And what if we need you, too?" Her mother's voice cracked, pushing through the barrier just enough to be heard. Torn in that moment, Emily's hands shook. Could she balance this tug-of-war? Would answering Alex mean shutting her family out? As the choice hung precariously in the air, with her heart split in two, she realized one thing: she couldn't ignore how important both of them were to her. She had to find a way to honor both sides of her beginning. "Please," she breathed. "Let us find a way through together." But as the wind whispered around them, promising the possibility of healing, a new message popped up on her screen. I need you now. I can't do this alone." Suddenly, it was not just about the family, the boundaries of her world were bending, and she had to decide how to reshape it. Would she answer the call to Alex or tend to the fragile seeds of healing blossoming at home? The pressure to choose weighed heavily as she stared at the text, feeling the pulse of both families in her veins. Would this be the moment where everything changed? Emily's heart raced as she stared at the screen, her thumb hovering over the keyboard, torn between worlds. She could feel the warmth of the sun filtering through the window, the faint sound of birds chirping outside, a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside her. She breathed deeply, forcing herself to focus. "Alex needs me," she thought, but at what cost? What would her family think if she walked away now? Could they truly heal if she wasn't fully present? Please." Her mother's voice, now soft yet pleading, wrestled with Emily's internal chaos. "We can talk about Alex together. It doesn't have to be one or the other." "Mom, Emily's voice was thin, strained. She wanted to scream, to cry, to unleash every pent-up feeling she had. The world was shifting beneath her feet, and she felt so small, so insignificant. "I don't want to ignore what we have right here." The glimmer of hope flickered again. Could she swing it? Maybe she could reach out to Alex while still being here for her family. But a single heartbeat shattered that thought. Another message appeared. "Please don't make me go through this alone," Alex's text read, even more desperate than the last. It felt like a lifeline carefully thrown into turbulent waters, but it was one Emily wasn't sure she could grab. "I have to respond," she finally whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Her father moved closer, concern etched on his face. If Alex is in trouble, maybe we should know, Dad." The words slipped out, sharper than she intended. "If I pick one, I might lose the other." The breath caught in her throat. She was afraid that admitting her fear would make it real. Silence reigned, a fragile bubble of tension surrounding them. Then Emily's younger brother spoke up, his small voice surprisingly steady. "What if both are scared? What if you can be there for Alex and still come back to us?" Emily's heart squeezed. Her brother, so innocent yet so wise, managed to open a tiny window of possibility. She turned back to her parents, searching their faces for understanding. "What if I can explain to Alex that I'm here? I can take a moment, tell him I'll be right back." Her father nodded slowly, his features softening. "If it helps you feel connected to both, maybe that's the best compromise." With a tentative smile, she stepped back again, the weight of her heart still heavy, but now, it felt a little lighter. Emily's fingers danced across the screen. "Alex, I can't talk long, but I'm here. What is going on? Just know I'll be back." Her fingers lingered for a moment before she pressed send, as if the action alone could somehow bridge the gap between her two worlds. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. I'm really struggling with everything." The words echoed in her mind, heavy with meaning. "I don't want to lose you." She felt the sting of tears, a mix of fear and resolve igniting within her. She needed to be strong, not just for Alex but for her family too. Emily turned to her parents, who were watching her closely, ready to catch her, ready to support her whatever her decision might be. "Okay," she took a deep breath. "Let us talk." But just then, a loud knock on the door interrupted the fragile peace. The noise jolted her back. It felt too sudden, like a crack upon the glass of their moment. Without thinking, Emily exchanged glances with her parents, their expressions mirrored her anxiety. "Should I get that?" her mother asked, clearly startled. "Maybe it's someone who can help us," Emily replied, her heart racing again. As she moved toward the door, uncertainty settled back alongside her. With the door halfway open, her breath caught. It was Alex standing on the other side, his eyes wide and desperate. "Emily, I need to talk. Now." Caught between her family and the boy who desperately wanted her, the choice weighed heavier than ever. How could she face both of them? What would happen next? Emily's heart thundered in her chest as she stood, frozen at the doorway, half in her family's world and half in Alex's. There he stood, his expression a mix of urgency and fear, eyes searching hers for answers that felt beyond her reach. The festive music and laughter from behind her seemed like a distant memory now, the bright lights blurring into an oppressive darkness that closed in around them. Please," Alex's voice broke through the haze. "I can't do this without you. I need you here." His plea hung in the air, heavy with meaning and possibility. But the very moment filled with tension was somehow laced with hope. She felt her family behind her, their collective breath a quiet encouragement urging her to choose wisely. "Emily." Her mother called softly, pulling her back even closer to the family she fought to heal. The vulnerability hung between them, raw emotions stirring like a whirlwind. Yet, here was Alex, his sincerity tugging at the other side of her heart. Taking a deep breath, Emily set her determination. "I can't abandon them. I have to help my family." Her legs felt rooted, yet her heart begged to dance freely with Alex. "But I can't throw away what we have either." She turned and faced her brother, who looked as worried as she felt. "I want to be there for you," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I need a moment, just a moment," she insisted, looking between Alex and her family. Alex nodded, understanding flickering in his gaze. "I'll wait. Just don't keep me in the dark," he said softly, looking as if he believed in their connection more than either of them had yet realized. Her mother stepped forward, both vulnerable and determined. "We're all here together, Em. Let us figure this out." Emily steeled herself, swirling emotions swelling. She could feel the significant weight of both worlds pressing down. "Okay, let us talk. We have to do this together." As they all gathered in the living room, awkward tension turned into a delicate silence, the possibility of healing brightening the space. "Mom, Dad," Emily began, her voice steadier than she felt. "We can't keep pretending everything is perfect. I feel like we're all lost, and it hurts." Each word was a step toward liberation, peeling away the layers of misunderstandings that had settled like dust over the years. Her father clenched and released his fists, clearing his throat. "I'm scared of failing you both," he admitted, finally cracking open the facade. "That's why I fight." Tears glimmered in her mother's eyes as she nodded, the weight of unspoken struggles breaking past the dam. "I just wanted to keep you safe," she whispered, hands trembling. Emily stepped forward, enveloping both of them in a warm embrace. "It's okay to feel afraid. We just need to be honest and face it together. I can't carry it all on my own anymore. Her brother squeezed them tight, embedding himself in the mixed affection of the resulting moment. As understanding began to blossom between them, Emily allowed herself to breathe deeply. I have someone who believes in me too, she said tentatively, glancing toward the door where Alex waited patiently, his presence feeling like a soft spring breeze. He's in my life, and he cares, just like I care about you all. Her words hung in the air, and she could sense the array of mixed feelings shifting within her family, curiosity coupled with a tinge of apprehension. Someone from the party? Her brother asked, eyes sparkling with intrigue. Yeah, she said, her pulse racing as she contemplated inviting Alex into this healing moment. His name is Alex, and then he makes me feel like I can be more than I thought I could ever be. Hope flickered as she was met with a mixture of surprise and acceptance. Honesty begets honesty, her father said, voice softening with realization. As long as we're all here together, we can embrace whatever change comes. Both worlds can exist, Em. Help your family and take care of yourself at the same time. Tears of relief filled Emily's eyes as she finally felt the walls begin to dissolve between them. It didn't have to be either or. Just then, a soft knock echoed from the door and Emily felt a jolt of fear and excitement. That's Alex, she whispered, glancing back to her family. He was standing at the edge, uncertainty etched on his handsome face, but she could see the spark of love and loyalty shining through. She reached for the door, momentary hesitation bubbling. Just wait a second, she said and turned back towards her family. Can I introduce him? You guys deserve to meet my friend who has been so important to me. Her brother nodded eagerly, while her mother smiled, eyes brightening with understanding. With a deep breath, Emily opened the door fully. Come in, Alex. The moment Alex stepped into the room, she felt the air shift in the best possible way, warmth radiated from both of them. Hi, he greeted nervously, glancing around at the uncertainty surrounding them. I didn't mean to bark. But Emily intervened, energy rushing within her. This is my family. And I'm sharing all of it, every part of it. As whispers were exchanged, and tension eased, Emily let out a sigh of relief amid soft conversations unfolding around them, a dance of understanding, a blend of two worlds. Hey, family, she said with an authentic smile. You were right. Together is where we'll all find our strength. And for the first time that night, Emily felt the weight of responsibility lighten, each heartbeat echoing a new beginning, a lived-in moment where healing and love cascaded seamlessly. Now, shall we talk? She encouraged, arms open wide. And with that small invitation, Emily found herself in the arms of her family, Alex standing slightly behind, and the warmth of acceptance swirled around them, grounding yet wholly uplifting. This was the leap she had longed for, a fragile bridge spun from understanding, connection, and love. No longer torn between the world she cherished. No more masks. Just them, fully present and entirely free. And as they began to share their stories, laughter punctuated fragments of painful silence, promising a new story together, a beautiful one where joy, vulnerability, and love intertwined seamlessly. Keep your phone on loud, Emily whispered to Alex as their gaze met momentarily, his smile combining with hers, hope blooming with each shared look, because they both realized now, they might just be able to rewrite this story together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, it matters. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.